welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into your notes and a YouTube video today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 30 years of business knowledge. It's a long one, 2 hours and 26 minutes
Wow.
by Simon Squibb.
Okay.
And looks like you're really interested in starting and growing a business.
Definitely.
So let's see what Squibb has to say about it.
Sounds good.
Now, one of the first things that jumped out at me was this idea of passion.
Yeah.
He really emphasizes starting with something you love.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. He doesn't say go find a market gap and fill it.
Right.
It's more like forget the market research, start with what you're passionate about.
It's kind of radical in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we always hear find a problem and solve it.
Right.
But he's saying build a business around something you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, even if it doesn't scream profitable right away.
Exactly.
And you know what? He actually uses his own story as an example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was obsessed with marketing, so
Yeah.
he started a creative agency. But what I found really interesting was how he talks about revenue models.
Yeah.
He encourages experimentation, trying unconventional things.
Like Airbnb selling cereal boxes.
Exactly, to fund their platform.
I mean, when I first heard that, I thought, what?
Yeah.
But it's actually brilliant when you think about it.
It is. It's thinking outside the box.
Totally.
You don't have to have it all figured out from day one.
Yeah.
Just find a way to generate some revenue while you're building the core business.
It reminds me of this company, Tough Mudder. You familiar with them?
Yeah, vaguely.
They started with a simple idea, an obstacle course.
Okay.
But they didn't just charge for entry.
Right.
They focused on building a community.
I see.
This feeling of shared accomplishment.
So it became more than just a race.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what fueled their growth.
It's not just about the product or service itself.
It's the bigger picture.
a whole experience.
And that brings us to Squibb's point about purpose.
Having a purpose beyond just profit.
Exactly.
Makes sense, though.
It does. It motivates you. It motivates your team.
Yeah.
And it can attract customers who resonate with your mission.
Like Patagonia. Right. Their commitment to the environment, that's a huge part of their brand.
Yeah.
And it's why people are so loyal to them.
Yeah, it's about creating a brand that stands for something.
More than just making money.
Right.
But I wonder, is focusing on purpose always the best strategy? Especially at the start.
That's a good point. You know, maybe in the beginning it's more about just getting that cash flow going.
Yeah, surviving.
Exactly. Just getting off the ground.
And then maybe the purpose becomes more important as you grow.
Yeah, finding that balance.
Now, another thing Squibb talks about is partnerships.
Oh, yeah.
He says you don't need a completely original idea to start a business.
Interesting.
He actually encourages finding someone with skills that complement yours.
I like that. Two heads are better than one.
Exactly, combining strengths.
Makes you think, what skills do I have? Where are my gaps?
Right.
So moving on, Squibb has this whole section on winning in business.
Okay.
He highlights 3 key elements.
Let's hear them.
Delayed gratification,
Okay.
a strong company culture,
Got it.
and something he calls hacking luck.
Hacking luck. I like that.
Yeah.
So delayed gratification.
Yeah, this idea of resisting those quick wins.
Especially in today's world, right? Instant everything.
Yeah.
But he's saying focus on the long game.
Build a strong brand.
Loyal customer base.
And he uses examples like Facebook, Instagram.
They waited years before making any real money.
And have you heard of this company, Qualtrics?
No, I don't think so.
They spent almost a decade building their software,
Wow.
turned down acquisition offers,
Really?
and then went public. Multi-billion-dollar valuation.
So patience pays off.
It can.
But how do you balance that with the need to, pay the bills?
I think you'd say have a clear vision, be resourceful,
Okay.
maybe even be willing to sacrifice a little comfort in the short term.
For that long-term gain.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game.
And how does company culture fit into all of this?
Well, he's a big advocate for creating a client-centric culture.
Okay. Like Amazon.
Yeah, where everyone's focused on delivering exceptional value to the customer.
When everyone's on the same page, working towards that same goal.
It builds loyalty.
And a foundation for growth.
Speaking of long-term vision, when I was launching my first product,
Yeah,
I was so eager to make those first sales
I bet.
that I rushed the launch.
Oh, no.
I didn't put enough effort into building that community around it.
I see.
It was a valuable lesson.
Impatience.
Exactly. And in the power of the long game.
So, back to hacking luck.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'm intrigued.
He breaks it down into persistence,
Okay,
knowing your destination,
makes sense.
and taking calculated risks.
So it's not really luck at all.
Right. It's about putting yourself in the right position to succeed.
He has that great line about passion fueling persistence.
Yeah. And knowing where you want to go helps you make the right decisions.
It's about defining what success means to you.
Exactly. Is it building a huge company?
Right. Or having flexibility. Or something else entirely.
Having that clarity gives you direction.
Helps you navigate those inevitable twists and turns.
And then there's the element of risk.
That can be scary.
It can, but he encourages us to lean into it.
Embrace those calculated risks.
It's about pushing beyond our comfort zone.
Recognizing that setbacks are part of the journey.
Now, one thing that surprised me was his take on business planning.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a fan of the traditional business plan.
Really? What does he suggest instead?
Mind maps.
Mind maps.
I know, I was skeptical too.
But they can be pretty powerful
He finds them more flexible and adaptable.
than those rigid business plans.
Yeah, which he thinks can stifle creativity.
And hinder a business's ability to evolve.
He actually provides a step-by-step guide to creating a mind map
Starting with your passion at the center.
and then branching out into different aspects of the business,
Revenue models, team building, partnership.
even future expansion plans.
He uses his own business, Free Humanity, as an example.
Right, showing how the mind map has evolved over time.
It's like a dynamic blueprint.
It guides you without boxing you in.
It's a living document.
It grows with your business.
Speaking of growth, how do you stay motivated for the long haul?
Well, that's where his insights on purpose come in.
Finding your purpose.
Yeah, he believes that's key to staying motivated.
And building a business that resonates with your team and your customers.
He suggests identifying the problem you want to solve in the world.
It doesn't have to be some grand world-saving mission.
Right, it could be as simple as bringing joy to people.
As long as it's something you genuinely believe in.
He also makes it clear that you don't have to do it alone.
Finding your tribe
Exactly, people who share your passion.
makes the journey more fulfilling.
More impactful.
He uses the example of someone passionate about climate change.
Okay.
Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the scale of the problem,
Right,
they could join an organization working in that field.
contribute their skills.
Be part of something bigger.
Aligning your actions with your values.
Now, finding a co-founder.
Ah, yes. This is something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with.
Squibb is a huge advocate for having one.
He compares it to having a gym buddy.
Someone to push you, support you.
But he's very specific about the kind of co-founder you should look for.
What does he say?
Someone who complements your skills
Okay.
and, more importantly, shares your moral compass.
Moral compass.
He actually has this thought-provoking test.
What's that?
He calls it the moral code test.
To assess potential partners' values.
Yeah, remember that thought experiment?
Remind me.
Living a luxurious life for 40 years,
Okay.
but then having your reputation ruined.
Would you take the deal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you think about your priorities.
What you're willing to compromise on.
He's saying find someone who's in it for the right reasons.
Someone with integrity.
Long-term vision.
It's interesting how he compares finding a co-founder to finding a life partner.
He really does?
You need that shared vision.
That trust and respect.
It's a relationship.
And speaking of relationships,
Yeah.
how does he approach selling?
Yeah, that's always a tough one.
He actually demystifies it.
Really?
He presents it as a skill you can learn.
So anyone can be a good salesperson.
He thinks so.
I'm not so sure about that.
But it's not about being pushy or manipulative.
Right.
It's about connecting with people.
On an emotional level.
Yeah. Sell a sizzle, not the steak.
It reminds me of Steve Jobs.
Yeah, those Apple product launches.
He didn't just list features.
He painted a picture.
The experience, the emotion, the aspiration.
It's powerful.
But is that something anyone can learn?
I think he'd say anyone can learn the fundamentals,
Okay.
but it takes practice.
And a genuine desire to connect with people.
Yeah, understand their needs.
He actually breaks the sales process down into 3 steps.
Oh, yeah.
First, determine if they need what you offer.
Makes sense.
Second, make sure there's mutual respect
Oh, you
and liking.
I like that.
And finally, work together to reach a deal.
It's about collaboration.
Win-win situations.
And he emphasizes long-term thinking.
Building those relationships.
Polite persistence.
You know, he cites a study, Harvard, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Top 1% of salespeople contact potential clients 5 times on average.
Before giving up.
It's about nurturing those relationships.
Staying top of mind.
And being yourself.
Bringing your personality into the sales process.
Authenticity goes a long way.
He really believes that.
So you've got the sales part down. Now, how do you get the word out?
Marketing.
Ah, yes, the marketing machine.
He emphasizes understanding your target audience.
Right, who are you trying to reach?
And building brand awareness.
It's all about getting noticed.
And, once again, creating a compelling story.
It's that sell the sizzle idea again.
Exactly.
It's not just about listing features.
It's about emotion, aspiration,
And he stresses experimentation.
flexibility.
What works for one business might not work for another.
Right. Find what resonates with your audience.
And then there's his staircase philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
The one where he buys a historic London staircase
Yeah, on a whim.
and turns it into a viral marketing campaign.
Brilliant.
It's about thinking outside the box.
So you've got the marketing rolling.
But what about funding?
That's the make or break for a lot of businesses.
He explores various options.
Like what?
Family and friends,
Okay.
angel investors,
Venture capitalists.
brand partnerships.
Even crowdfunding.
He emphasizes finding sources that align with your values.
Not just taking money from anyone.
Right, finding partners who share your vision.
And he cautions against taking investments without considering the consequences.
It's about being strategic.
And he shares a really interesting tactic.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Leveraging existing clients.
For funding.
Yeah, or brand partners.
He actually had a client who funded his agency's expansion.
Wow, where to?
The Middle East.
That's amazing.
It shows the potential within your existing network.
And then, of course, there's crowdfunding.
Yeah, it's become increasingly popular.
But there are different types, right?
He encourages carefully considering the different options.
Pre-selling products.
Equity crowdfunding.
Donations.
It's about finding the right fit for your business.
So you've secured funding, the business is growing.
How do you make sure it lasts?
That's where branding comes in.
Building a brand that endures.
He stresses that it's more than just a logo.
Or a tagline.
It's about the whole experience.
It reflects your values.
Resonates with your audience.
He emphasizes building a strong personal brand.
Being authentic.
Establishing an online presence.
He talks about the reference model of branding.
Oh, yeah.
Where you partner with individuals or organizations.
That embody your values.
Like Canon partnering with photographer Peter McKinnon.
I see, leveraging their credibility.
And then there's the leadership model.
Okay.
Where a key figure, often the founder,
Becomes the face of the brand.
think Steve Jobs and Apple.
It's powerful when done right.
It is.
He emphasizes choosing the right approach. One that aligns with your strategy.
And your target audience.
And he's big on saying no.
To opportunities that don't align with your values.
Protecting your brand identity.
You know, I was once approached by a company.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to partner on a project.
Okay.
It just didn't feel right.
I see.
It would have been lucrative, but not true to our brand.
So you walked away.
We did. Tough decision, but the right one.
It takes courage to say no.
It does.
Especially when money's involved.
Well, the long term, it builds trust.
Loyalty.
It's about integrity.
Now let's talk about building a team.
Hiring, growing, all that.
He believes in hiring people who align with your purpose.
Your values.
Creating a culture that attracts talent.
So you don't have to micromanage.
Exactly. People who are passionate about the mission.
And he's a big advocate for giving employees equity.
Ownership in the business.
He thinks it fosters loyalty.
Incentivizes hard work.
Aligns everyone's interests.
It's about creating a sense of partnership.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Giving away equity can be a big decision.
It is, but he makes a good point.
When employees feel like they have a stake,
they're more likely to go the extra mile.
It's not just a job.
It's a shared vision.
He also encourages defining your long-term vision for growth.
Having a roadmap.
One that aligns with your personal and professional goals.
So your business supports the life you want to live.
And you're building something sustainable.
Now, global expansion.
That can feel daunting.
It can.
But he challenges the notion that it's complex. He actually says it can simplify operations.
Simplify? How so?
By operating in multiple markets.
Okay.
You mitigate risk.
If one market goes down.
You have others to cushion the blow.
I see. Diversification.
And he encourages exploring franchising.
To expand without managing everything directly.
Leveraging local expertise.
It's about finding the right partners.
And building a scalable model.
One that can withstand market fluctuations.
It's a lot to think about.
It is, but he breaks it down really well. What stood out to you about his approach to global expansion?
I think it's the strategic planning aspect.
Okay.
And finding those right partners.
Makes sense.
Now let's move on to mentorship.
Finding that wise guru.
He actually debunks the myth of needing a traditional mentor.
Really?
He argues that you often just need answers.
To specific questions.
Or accountability partners.
I see.
He encourages leveraging online platforms.
Connecting with experts.
You can find mentors all over the globe.
Without needing those face-to-face meetings.
It's about being resourceful.
And if you are looking for a traditional mentor,
Yeah,
He gives some tips.
Be clear about what you want to gain.
Research their interests.
Seek connections through mutual contacts.
And offer value in return.
He uses the example of someone who redesigned his website,
Unprompted.
which led to a relationship.
It's about showing initiative.
And even if a potential mentor declines,
Okay.
you can still learn from them.
Through their work.
Their books, their videos.
It's about being open to learning opportunities.
Now let's wrap up with equity and exiting your business.
Okay, those can be tricky topics.
He does a good job of explaining them
He stresses the importance of a well-structured equity plan.
for long-term success.
And he challenges that misconception.
Owning less than 50% means losing control.
He reminds us about operational agreements,
They can grant decision-making power.
regardless of equity percentage.
It's about structuring those agreements carefully.
Protecting your interests.
He advises against selling too much equity early on.
Right, don't dilute your ownership too soon.
He suggests bootstrapping or using safes.
And he covers the different ways to exit a business.
Mergers, acquisitions, buyouts, partnerships.
He emphasizes building a business you love.
One you're reluctant to sell.
He says that often leads to the best exit opportunities.
It's counterintuitive.
But it makes sense.
When you've built something truly valuable,
It attracts the right buyers.
they're willing to pay a premium.
He also stresses having an exit strategy from the start.
Even if you don't plan to sell for years.
So you're prepared for any scenario.
It's about being proactive, thinking ahead.
He really covers everything.
It's amazing.
It's like a crash course in entrepreneurship.
It is.
What struck you the most about his overall approach?
It's the human side of it all.
The passion, the purpose.
The relationships, the values.
It's refreshing.
It's not just about profit.
It's about building something meaningful.
Making a positive impact.
What stands out to you from all of his advice?
I think it's the idea of starting with passion
Yeah.
and finding your purpose
It's about building a business you love.
that you're proud of.
And that makes a difference in the world. You know, we talked about finding that perfect mentor.
Yeah, someone to guide us.
Squibb actually has a different take on that whole mentorship thing.
He does, doesn't he? I mean, it can be kind of stressful looking for that perfect mentor.
Right. And he's saying maybe we don't need that formal mentor.
Hmm.
Maybe what we really need are answers.
Just answers to specific questions.
Yeah, or someone to hold us accountable.
Like an accountability partner?
He actually suggests using online platforms
Like-minded communities.
to connect with experts.
I get that targeted advice.
It's so much easier these days with all the resources we have online.
It is. I mean, I learned how to code that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't have a formal mentor,
Yeah.
but I found this amazing online community.
No, developers.
Exactly. They were so helpful.
Just asking questions.
Participating in discussions.
That's a great example.
It shows how mentorship can take many forms.
You don't always need that traditional one-on-one relationship.
Right.
But what if you are looking for that more traditional mentorship?
That personal connection.
Does Squibb have any advice for finding the right person?
He does. He says, be clear about what you want.
Okay.
Do your research on potential mentors.
Know their interests.
And see if you can connect through someone you both know.
a mutual contact.
Yeah. And he also emphasizes offering value.
It's a two-way street. He gave this example of someone redesigning his website
Unprompted.
just to show what they could do.
That led to a relationship.
It's about demonstrating your initiative.
Showing you're not just there to take.
Right.
And even if a potential mentor says no,
It's not the end of the world.
you can still learn from their work.
Their books, articles, videos.
It's about being resourceful.
Recognizing those learning opportunities.
So we've talked about finding your passion,
Embracing failure.
the importance of mentorship,
Now let's wrap up with something crucial.
equity, and exiting your business.
Squibb breaks these topics down so well.
He really demystifies them.
He emphasizes having a solid equity plan.
And he challenges that whole idea that owning less than 50% means losing control.
Right, remember operational agreements?
Shareholder agreements.
They can give you decision-making power.
Regardless of how much equity you own,
It's all about structuring those agreements carefully.
to protect your interests.
He also advises against selling too much equity too early.
Right. Don't dilute your ownership before you've built value.
He suggests bootstrapping or using safes.
And then he talks about the different exit strategies.
Mergers, acquisitions, buyouts, partnerships.
It's interesting how he says that building a business you love
one you're reluctant to sell.
Often leads to the best exit opportunities.
Seems counterintuitive.
Well, but it makes sense.
When you've poured your heart into something,
And you've built something truly valuable
it attracts the right buyer.
who are willing to pay a premium
He also emphasizes having an exit strategy in place.
from the beginning.
Even if you're not planning to sell anytime soon,
It's about being prepared.
for any scenario,
So you're not caught off guard,
he's all about being proactive.
thinking ahead.
You know, it's fascinating how he connects these different concepts.
Yeah, from personal development to global expansion.
It really shows how building a business is a holistic thing.
It's not just about the numbers,
It's about passion,
purposes,
ships,
building a strong team.
creating something that reflects your values.
And he doesn't shy away from the challenges.
Right, he acknowledges the setbacks
He embraces them, actually.
and encourages us to view failures as opportunities.
That D-student mentality.
It's refreshing,
It's about letting go of that need for perfection.
embracing the learning process,
I think that's a powerful message,
not just for business.
but for life in general.
Squibb has given us so much to think about,
He really has.
from starting with passion,
To building a strong culture,
finding the right mentorship,
understanding equity.
planning your exit.
He's covered it all.
And he's done it in a way that's both insightful and inspiring.
What I appreciate is that he emphasizes the human element,
The importance of building something you're proud of.
something that makes a positive impact.
So as we continue on our own entrepreneurial journeys,
Let's remember to embrace that passion
stay curious.
and never be afraid to challenge the status quo.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
There are resources out there,
Mentors to guide you.
a community of entrepreneurs.
We're all in this together.
This deep dive has been all about giving you the tools,
The knowledge
the inspiration.
to build a business that's both successful and meaningful.
We hope you found it valuable.
And we wish you the best of luck on your journey.
Squibb really packs it all in, doesn't he? It's like a crash course in entrepreneurship.
He does. From passion to profits to purpose, it's all there.
And what strikes me is that he doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right. He acknowledges the challenges.
The setbacks, the failures.
It's refreshing, actually.
Yeah, it's real.
He even tells that story, the Muroff story, I think he called it.
Oh yeah, about Bernie Madoff.
A stark reminder that chasing short-term gains can have serious consequences.
And that ego can really cloud your judgment.
He's basically saying build a business with integrity.
One that's not just profitable, but ethical.
Sustainable.
And he encourages us to adopt that D-student mentality.
Be willing to experiment, to make mistakes.
To learn from those mistakes.
It's about embracing the process.
The messy, iterative process of building something new.
Makes you think, how much pressure do we put on ourselves to be perfect?
Right. Maybe there's freedom in letting go of that need for perfection,
It's like giving ourselves permission to fail.
as long as we learn from it.
And I think that's a powerful lesson.
Not just for business.
But for life,
Squibb has given us so much to think about.
he really has. It's almost overwhelming.
Starting with passion, finding your purpose,
Building a strong team, finding the right mentors.
understanding equity, planning your exit strategy.
He's covered it all.
And he's given us some practical tools to use along the way.
Like mind mapping for business planning.
That moral code test for potential partners.
Tools that can help us make better decisions.
Build businesses that are aligned with our values.
And he challenges us to think about the bigger picture.
The impact our businesses have on the world.
It's not just about making money,
It's about creating something that matters.
something that makes a positive difference.
One theme that keeps coming back to me is balance.